Hi, I'm the math guy, Steve. Let's try this word problem. So this one here says find the length of x in the diagram. Now, dealing with a diagram like this, when we have triangles, we definitely want to, consider this small triangle, big triangle. Think small triangle, big triangle. And actually, it may be best to even draw the smaller triangle and draw the bigger triangle, because then we can compare them and create what's called a proportion, okay, from these similar triangles. So let's try it. The first one here, with the smaller triangle, we see, okay, what parts do I have for that smaller triangle? This side I have an X, this side I have a 5. So let's draw it. Let's see. Okay, here's my smaller triangle. Again, both of these are right triangles, but that means that they're similar. So here I have X, and here I have 5. There's my smaller triangle. Now let's think of the bigger triangle, the whole thing. So on the bigger triangle, it's also a right triangle, not a left triangle, okay? And so on the bigger triangle, we note that this side is 20. But then on the bigger triangle on this side, we have to consider both of these parts, the bigger thing. So here we have an X, but then it goes to 12. So the bigger triangle altogether on this side would have an X plus 12, okay? And now when we have these similar triangles, then we say, well, the similar sides must be proportional. Meaning I can say, well, let's create a proportion. This side would be X. I'm comparing that to the X plus 12. So X divided by X plus 12. And it must be equal to or similar to, okay, these sides, which is 5 to 20. So I went small to small has to equal small to big has to equal small to big. So here we would have 5 over 20. And now we're solving a proportion. Now how we solve proportions is by, we say this side times this side, and we call that cross multiplying, okay? So here, let's cross multiply. Let's do it. X times 20, we get 20x, okay? And here we get 5 times the whole x plus 12. So I'll write that as 5 times all of this x plus 12. And now we're solving what's called a linear equation. So how we solve these linear equations? First, get rid of those parentheses. They're kind of in the way. How we get rid of them? We distribute across the parentheses. So here we get 20x equals 5 times x, 5x, okay? And 5 times 12, 60. All right. Now let's collect all the x stuff on one side by itself. So subtract 5x from both sides. That would give me 20x minus 5x is 15x equals. And then on this side, we're just left with the 60. That's right, not left. Okay, last step, we have to get the x by itself by dividing both sides by 15. There we go. And so that would give me x equals 60 divided by 15. Is 4. So we found the x in the diagram that works for this smaller triangle and big triangle. We can always check it to make sure that those proportions work. In other words, we'd say, okay, well, 5 is to 20. Got it? 5 is to 20. Is that the same as when I plug in my x equals 4? Got it. 4 is to this whole side, 4 plus 12. 4 is to the whole side, 4 plus 12, which is 16. Is this true? Well, if I reduce both of these fractions, we'll see that this is true. So if this is my check step, you always want to check as best we can. 5 divided by 20, reducing that, we get 1/4. And 4 divided by 16, we reduce that, we get also 1/4. So it checks out. So again, these type of word problems are not that difficult. They just aren't. And always remember, math is everywhere.